In this video demo, I am going to address the creating of graphs in R Commander. We already know that if we are in RStudio and we activate or import a data set and we start working with it, it will appear right here in our script. We can see the commands that are taking place in our console. We can see the packages that we have available to us to work with. Our commander is the one, or probably the one that we will be working with the most. To make sure that we can work with our commander, we need to come down to our commander and click on our commander, make sure it's activated. In this case, I already have it activated. I'm going to open our commander now, and I know that I have exam anxiety as an activated data set. I can view this data, and the important reason for viewing the data is because I want to make a visual inspection of this data, and I want to make decisions about what types of graphs I can actually create. And I just lost that because I clicked on the wrong thing. What kind of graphs I can create. So I know that I have, in this case, I have a code which is like a student ID or the code for a participant. Revise in this case, because Andy Field is from England, is the amount of hours that a person has spent studying. Exam is the test that a student spent on an exam, and anxiety is a level of anxiety experienced by that individual during the exam, and it ranges from 0 to 100, and then of course gender is simply male or female. So if we look at this first case right here, I'm going to try to highlight it. We know that individual 1 who received code 1 or student 1 studied for 4 hours, scored a 40 on the exam, had a pretty high level of anxiety at 86.29, and that is a male. Let's look at case, for example, 50. So student 50 studied 19 hours, scored a 50, not so much better, had a pretty high level of anxiety at 73, and is a female. So what can a graph do for me? A graph can actually tell me quite a bit about the relationships that I'm looking at now. Oh, this looks pretty high, or this looks pretty low, or this looks like it might be related. The more I study, the less anxiety I have during an exam. Graphs allow me to visualize that data and to make decisions about my data. So let's go ahead and click on graphs, and let's graph the first thing, a box plot, which allows me to look for normality issues. You should know what that is from your introduction to stats class. I'm going to click on anxiety and simply click on OK and run an analysis of a box plot, a graphical a visualization of my data, and make a decision now. So what I can see here is that there is a box plot which gives me a box with 50% of the scores inside this box. So I know that 50% of the scores fall anywhere between 75, about, because I'm 60 here in terms of anxiety, and about an 84, maybe an 85, close to an 85, or close to a 90. So this is actually somewhere around 70 as I'm looking at. This is broken up by 60, 80, 100. So this could be 70 through about 85, 90. Those are the 50% of the scores. These right here account for the top 75th percentile. This accounts for the bottom 25th percentile. The middle is the 50th percentile. So the black dark line in the middle is the median. You should know this from Intro to Stats. I don't even know why I'm repeating myself on this. And these cases actually indicate that these might be outliers. So these might be some extreme scores that you need to do something with. Let's go ahead and add to history. So I've added this, and I'm going to graph the same thing but for revise. I'm going to create a box plot for revise, because revise is how much time a person spent studying. I'm going to click on revise, and I'm going to click on OK. I've created a box plot for that. Where is that graph? I'm going to click on the graph appears. Here it is. And so here we have most of the revisions. The median time for revisions was below 20, maybe somewhere around 15. Of course, some people studied 0 hours. The majority of the people studied anywhere between 10 and 30 hours for the exam. And then again, these are some extreme cases and outliers. And I'm going to add this to my history. Now it's been added. Then I'm going to save all of these guys together. I'm going to also graph a box plot, and I'm going to plot them by groups, and I'm going to plot them by gender. So now I'm going to look at, hey, are there any differences that I can see in these graphs in terms of gender? Click OK and look at your graphs, and now you have female and male by time studied, and you can see that most of the female students studied, the median is a little bit higher. There are more within the 50th percentile. As you can see that this box is a little bit larger. You have a couple of girls, at least some girls, or the extreme girls, have studied close to 60 hours. And of course, a few girls have studied 0 hours, and you have three outlier cases where somebody studied close to 90 hours. Now, there is at least one guy that studied almost 100 hours for the exam. It'd be interesting to see who that is. This right here indicates that that is case 15. So I'm going to click on View Data. I'm going to look for case 15. Where is case 15? Let's open this up, stretch this out a little bit. So this is case 15 right here. So I can see this guy studied 98, scored a 95, and had low anxiety during the test. So maybe it's a good idea to study before exams. Let's close this up, and I'm going to create a new video presentation for histograms in just a second, and scatter plots.